I caught my daughter-in-law in our storage room with another man. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the doorway, watching them freeze like two children caught stealing cookies. And then I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because in that single moment, everything finally made sense. All the little things, all the cold shoulders, all the whispers that stopped when I entered a room. I smiled because I finally understood why my son had been looking so tired, why my grandchildren had been so quiet lately, why my own home had started to feel like a place where I didn't belong. I didn't say a word to them. I just closed the door softly, walked back to the kitchen, and made a phone call. That call changed everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, because this story didn't start in that storage room. It started 2 years earlier on a Sunday afternoon when I thought I was making the best decision of my life. My name is Margaret. I'm 63 years old, though people tell me I look younger. I don't know if that's true or if they're just being kind. After my husband Thomas passed away 5 years ago, I learned to live alone. It wasn't easy at first. The house felt too big, too quiet. Every room held a memory. Every corner whispered his name. Thomas and I had built that house together 40 years ago. We raised our son David there. We celebrated birthdays and holidays. We had quiet Sunday mornings with coffee and newspapers. We had arguments too, of course. All couples do. But we always made up before the sun went down. That was our rule. Never go to bed angry. When Thomas died, David was 35 years old. He had been married to Christine for 7 years. They had 2 children. Emma was 6, and little Michael was 4. Beautiful children, sweet and bright-eyed, with their father's gentle nature. David worried about me after his father passed. He would call every day, sometimes twice a day. "Mom, are you eating properly? Mom, did you remember to take your medicine? Mom, are you feeling lonely?" I loved him for caring, but I also knew he had his own life, his own family. I didn't want to be a burden. I had my routine. I would wake up early, make my tea, tend to my garden. I joined a book club at the local library. I volunteered at the community center twice a week. I had friends. I had activities. I was managing. I was okay. But David couldn't stop worrying. And Christine had ideas. One Sunday afternoon, they came over for lunch. This was normal. We did this almost every week. I would cook a big meal and they would bring the children. We would eat together, laugh together. It was the highlight of my week, those few hours when my house felt alive again. That particular Sunday, after we finished eating, after the children ran off to play in the backyard, Christine cleared her throat. She had that look, that serious look that meant she'd been planning to say something important. "Mom," she said. She always called me Mom from the very first day. "David and I have been talking, and we think it might be time for you to consider moving." I remember my hand stopped halfway to my teacup. I looked at her, then at David. My son wouldn't meet my eyes. He was staring at his plate like it held the answers to life's mysteries. "Moving?" I said. My voice came out smaller than I intended. "Moving where?" Christine reached across the table and patted my hand. Her hand was cold. I remember that detail clearly. Her hand was always cold, even in summer. "Not far," she said, smiling. "Actually, we were thinking maybe you could move in with us." I blinked. I looked at David again. He finally looked up, and he was smiling too, but his smile looked tired.
Mom, the house is too big for you, and we have that extra room now that we converted the basement. It's nice down there, warm and cozy. You'd have your own bathroom, your own entrance, your privacy. But you wouldn't be alone, Christine added quickly. You'd be with family, with us, with the grandchildren. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I sat there, holding my teacup, feeling the warmth seep into my palms. I looked around my kitchen, where Thomas had proposed to me 45 years ago, where I had taught David to bake his first cake, where I had cried and laughed and lived. I don't know, I said slowly. This is my home. We know, Mom, David said gently, but think about it. No more worrying about the furnace in winter, no more shoveling snow, no more maintaining this big yard, and you'd get to see Emma and Michael every day. That part was tempting. I loved my grandchildren more than anything. The idea of seeing them every morning, every evening, it pulled at my heart. What would happen to this house? I asked.
Christine and David exchanged a look. We could sell it, Christine said. The market is good right now. You could put that money away, save it, use it for whatever you need. Or we could rent it out, David added. Keep it in the family. I wanted to say no. Every fiber of my being wanted to say no. But then I thought about how much David worried, how I could hear the stress in his voice every time he called, how Christine was right, in a way. The house was big, winter was hard, I wasn't getting any younger. And I thought about Emma and Michael, their little faces, their little hands, how Michael would run to me and hug my legs, how Emma would show me her drawings and ask me to put them on my refrigerator. Let me think about it, I said. They both smiled. Of course, Christine said. Take your time. There's no rush. But there was a rush. I could feel it. I could see it in the way Christine's eyes lingered on my china cabinet, in the way David measured the rooms with his gaze, already calculating, already planning. 2 weeks later, I said yes. God help me, I said yes. The move happened quickly, too quickly, looking back. Within a month, my entire life was packed into boxes. Furniture I'd had for decades was sold or given away. You won't need all this, Mom, Christine said. We don't have space for everything. Just bring what's essential. Essential. I learned that word meant different things to different people. To me, my grandmother's rocking chair was essential. To Christine, it was bolty and old-fashioned. But it still works perfectly, I said. I know, Mom, but it doesn't really fit the aesthetic of the house. Maybe we can find you a nice, modern chair instead. I let her sell in it. I don't know why. Maybe I was trying to be accommodating. Maybe I was trying to show them I could be flexible, easy to live with, not a burden. The basement apartment was nice, I suppose. Clean, new. They had painted it a soft gray color. There was a small bedroom, a bathroom with a walk-in shower, and a tiny sitting area with a kitchenette. My own entrance, like David promised, through a side door. See, Christine said, showing me around on moving day. You have complete privacy. You can come and go as you please, but you're also right here if you need us, or if we need you. That last part sounded casual, but I would learn what it meant soon enough. The first few months were an adjustment. I tried to establish a routine. I would wake up early, make my tea in the small kitchenette, but the kitchenette only had a microwave and a mini fridge, no stove. You don't need a stove, Christine had said. You can come upstairs and use our kitchen anytime. We're family. But coming upstairs meant entering their space, and I quickly learned that their space had rules, invisible rules that I kept discovering by breaking them. Like the morning I came upstairs at 7 to make myself breakfast.
Christine was already in the kitchen preparing smoothies. She looked surprised to see me. "Oh, you're up early," she said. "I always wake up early," I replied, smiling. "Thought I'd make some eggs. Would you like some?" "We don't eat eggs. Too much cholesterol. We're doing a clean eating thing right now." "Oh, well, I'll just make some for myself then." I saw her jaw tighten. "Could you maybe do that later? I'm kind of in the middle of my morning routine here." I stepped back. "Of course, sorry." I went back downstairs and had a protein bar instead. I hadn't bought protein bars before. I didn't even like them, but I learned to keep them in my mini fridge for mornings like that. The children were the joy in all of it, though. Emma and Michael. They would come downstairs in the afternoons after school, and Michael would climb into my lap and tell me about his day. Emma would show me her homework. I would help her with reading. I would give them cookies I'd bought from the store, the soft ones with chocolate chips. Until the day Christine found out. "Mom, I appreciate you spending time with the kids," she said, "but please don't give them cookies. They're not allowed to have refined sugar except on special occasions." "Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry." "It's okay. I should have told you. We're just trying to raise them healthy, Set good habits early." I nodded. Of course, good habits, good parenting. I understood. But it felt like every day there was something else I didn't know. Some new rule, some new way I was accidentally overstepping. I offered to help with laundry one day. "I've got it, Mom," Christine said. "I have a system." I offered to help with dinner. "You don't need to cook, Mom. You've cooked enough in your life. Relax." I offered to pick up Emma from school when Christine had a dentist appointment. "The school has a list of approved pickups. It's a whole process to add someone new. Don't worry about it." Slowly, I began to understand. I wasn't there to help. I was there to be helped, to be taken care of, to be watched over. I had gone from being a mother to being a responsibility. David was working long hours. He was a project manager at a construction company, and he would leave early and come home late. When he was home, he seemed tired, distracted. I would try to talk to him, but Christine was always there, always steering the conversation. "How was your day, sweetheart?" I'd ask him. "Long," he'd say. "He's exhausted," Christine would add. "He's under so much pressure at work, he barely has time to breathe." And David would nod, and I would nod, and the conversation would end there. At night, I could hear them upstairs. Not words, just sounds. Footsteps, doors closing, sometimes voices muffled through the ceiling. Sometimes silence that felt heavier than sound. I started spending more time in my basement apartment. I would read, watch TV, call my old friends, though those calls became less frequent. They had their lives. I had mine now, and it felt strange, trying to explain my new life to them. "How's living with David?" they'd ask. "Good," I'd say. "It's good. The grandchildren are wonderful." And they were. They truly were. That part wasn't a lie. But there was a loneliness to it all that I hadn't expected. A loneliness that came from being surrounded by family, but feeling separate. Like living in a house, but not being part of the home. 6 months after I moved in, my friend Helen called. "Margaret, some of us are going to the coast for a week. That little bed and breakfast we used to love, remember? We thought of you. Would you like to come?" I felt a flutter of excitement. That sounds lovely. Let me check. Check with whom? I was 63 years old. I didn't need permission. But I heard myself saying, let me make sure it's okay. I went upstairs. Christine was folding laundry in the living room. Christine, some friends are planning a trip next month. Just a week. I was thinking of going. She looked up, surprised. Next month? But that's when David's work conference is. I was hoping you could watch the kids. Oh, I said. You didn't mention a conference. Didn't I? I thought I did. It's been on the calendar for months. I hadn't seen any calendar. I didn't know there was a calendar. Well, maybe I could go a different week. That would be great, Mom. The kids love spending time with you, and it would really help us out. I called Helen back. I can't make it, I said. Family commitment. Maybe next time, she said. But we both knew. Next time would be the same. There would always be something. That's when I started to feel it. That feeling like walls closing in, like my life was getting smaller and smaller, like I was shrinking into a version of myself I didn't recognize. But I told myself I was being selfish. This was family. This was what mattered. My comfort, my wants, they were secondary. David needed me. The children needed me. Christine needed me. Even if it didn't always feel like they wanted me. The second year was harder. The politeness wore off. The pretense faded. The reality settled in like dust in the corners. I had become the permanent babysitter. Not that anyone called it that. Mom, would you mind watching the kids tonight? We have dinner plans. Mom, could you pick up Emma? I have a yoga class. Mom, Michael's not feeling well. Could you stay with him? I have a meeting I can't miss. I never said no. How could I? These were my grandchildren. I loved them. And besides, what else did I have to do? My book club had stopped inviting me. I'd missed too many meetings. My volunteer work at the community center had ended. I just can't commit to a regular schedule anymore, I told them. The garden I used to love was gone, replaced by Christine's landscaping, modern, minimal, easy maintenance. I lived in the basement. I came upstairs when called. I helped when asked. I retreated when dismissed. David started looking older. Lines around his eyes, gray in his hair that hadn't been there before. He and Christine were arguing more. I could hear them at night. Not the words, but the tone. Sharp, frustrated, tired. One evening, I came upstairs to return a book I'd borrowed from their shelf. I heard them in the kitchen. I should have announced myself, but something made me pause in the hallway. I'm drowning, Christine, David was saying. The mortgage, the bills, your spending. My spending? You're the one who insisted on that new truck. I needed that truck for work. You bought $1,500 worth of clothes last month. I need to look professional. I have meetings. I have appearances to keep up with. With what money? We're barely making ends meet. Then maybe you should ask for a raise. Work harder. Do something instead of just complaining. There was a long silence. Then David spoke again, quieter. I'm trying my best. Well, your best isn't good enough, is it? I heard footsteps coming toward the hallway. I quickly moved, pretending I'd just arrived. Christine came around the corner and nearly bumped into me. Oh, Mom, how long have you been standing there? Just got here, I said, holding up the book, returning this. She took it without looking at it. Thanks. Her face was flushed. Her eyes were bright with anger or tears, I couldn't tell which. I went back downstairs, my heart heavy. My son was struggling, and I couldn't help. I had sold my house. That money was supposed to be for my future, for emergencies. But watching David's face, seeing the stress, I wanted to offer it, to help. The next morning, I brought it up. David, honey, if you need help financially, we're fine, Mom. He didn't look at me. I have savings from the house. If you need, I said, we're fine. His voice was sharp, then softer. Sorry, I appreciate it, but we're managing. Christine appeared in the doorway. What are we talking about? Nothing, David said quickly. Mom was just asking about dinner plans. I hadn't been, but I played along. Yes, I was thinking of making a roast. We're eating out tonight, just the two of us. You don't mind watching the kids, do you? Of course not. They went out a lot those days. Dinner, movies, concerts. We need couple time, Christine would say. It's important for a healthy marriage. I agreed. Of course they needed time together. I would stay with Emma and Michael. We would play games, read stories. I would tuck them into bed and kiss their foreheads. And then I would sit in my basement apartment and wonder when I had become so invisible, so convenient, so useless. The children started asking questions. Grandma, why do you live in the basement? Emma asked one day. Because I like it down there. It's cozy. But basements are for storage, for old things nobody uses. Out of the mouths of children, such simple, brutal truth. I'm not that old, I said, trying to smile. I didn't mean that, Emma said quickly. I just meant, don't you want to be upstairs with us? I'm with you right now, sweetheart. But she was right. I was stored in the basement. Old, convenient, out of the way until needed. I started noticing other things, small things. Christine's phone lighting up with messages at odd hours. Her excuses for going out alone. Gym, coffee with friends, errands. Always something, always vague. David noticed too. I could see it in his face, the way he watched her, the questions he didn't ask, the answers he didn't want to hear. One afternoon, Christine asked me to watch the children for a few hours. I have an appointment, she said. What kind of appointment? I asked. Not accusatory, just curious. Personal, she said, her voice cool. I'll be back by 5. She came back at 7. Her hair was different, styled, her makeup fresh. She smelt like cologne, men's cologne. I didn't say anything. It wasn't my place. But I wondered if David noticed, if he smelled it too, if he saw the flush in her cheeks, the satisfaction in her smile. That night I heard them fighting again, louder this time. I heard something break, glass maybe. Then crying, then silence. In the morning, David had a bruise on his arm. Dropped a toolbox, he said when I asked. But I wondered. I wondered a lot of things those days. I started taking walks, long walks, away from the house, away from the tension, away from the feeling of walls closing in. Someone else lived there now. They had painted it yellow. I'd always wanted to paint it yellow, but Thomas preferred white. It looked happy, that house, like it was glad to be rid of me. I felt tired all the time, not physically, spiritually, emotionally. Tired of being careful, tired of being quiet, tired of being grateful for the privilege of living in my son's basement. But what choice did I have? Where would I go? What would I do? I was 63 years old. I had no home. My savings wouldn't last forever, and I loved my grandchildren. Leaving would mean leaving them. So I stayed, and I watched, and I waited. For what? I didn't know, until the day I found out. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were trash days, and I had been gathering the recycling from my apartment to take to the curb. Small task, simple, something to make myself useful. Christine had gone out, taken Emma to piano lessons, she'd said. Michael was at a play date. David was at work. The house was quiet. I carried my recycling bag upstairs and through the kitchen. That's when I noticed it. The storage room door. It was closed but not latched. A sliver of light came from underneath. We didn't use that storage room often. It was at the back of the house, past the garage. We kept holiday decorations there, old furniture, boxes of things nobody wanted but couldn't throw away. I almost didn't check. I almost just walked past. But something made me stop. Maybe instinct, maybe fate, maybe just an old woman's curiosity. I walked toward the door. I could hear something. Voices, low, murmured. I thought maybe David had come home early. Maybe he was looking for something. I opened the door, not forcefully, not dramatically, just opened it. And there they were.
Christine. And the man I didn't recognize. Young, maybe 30, handsome in that sharp modern way. They were standing very close together. Too close. His hand was on her waist. Her hand was on his chest. They froze when they saw me. All three of us froze, actually, like time stopped, like the world held its breath. Christine's face went white, then red, then white again. The man took a step back. His hand dropped. He looked at me, then at Christine, then at me again. I should have yelled. I should have demanded explanations. I should have done something dramatic, something worthy of the moment. But I didn't. I just stood there. And then, slowly, I smiled. Not a happy smile. Not a kind smile. But a smile of understanding, of clarity, of pieces falling into place. Christine started, we were just. I held up my hand. Don't. One word. That's all I said. Don't. I looked at the man. He was attractive, well-dressed. He had the look of someone who was used to getting what he wanted. He opened his mouth to speak. Leave, I said. Still calm, still quiet. He looked at Christine. She nodded, barely. He grabbed his jacket from where it was draped over a box and hurried past me. I heard his footsteps, the side door opening, closing, a car starting, driving away. Christine and I stood there. The storage room suddenly felt very small, very cold. Mom, I can explain, she said. How long? I asked. What? How long has this been going on? She looked away. It's not what you think. How long, Christine? 6 months? Her voice was small. Maybe 8? I don't know. It happened. 6 months, maybe 8. While David was working himself to exhaustion, while I was babysitting, while we were all playing happy family. Does David know? I asked. No, and you can't tell him. I laughed. Actually laughed. A short, bitter sound. I can't tell him? Please, Mom, please. It would destroy him. It would destroy this family. The kids. Think about the kids. I am thinking about the kids, I said. I'm thinking about how they deserve better than this. How David deserves better than this. David and we've been having problems. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't see me. I felt invisible. Invisible. That word. She dared to use that word. You felt invisible, I repeated. You, with your perfect house, your perfect life, your husband who works himself sick trying to provide for you, you felt invisible? You don't understand. I don't. I don't understand how someone can be so selfish, so cruel. Her face hardened. The vulnerability disappeared. Be careful, Mom. You're living in my house, under my roof. If you tell David, if you ruin my marriage, where will you go? There it was, the threat, the reality. She was reminding me of my place, of my dependence, of my powerlessness. But she had miscalculated, because in that moment, standing in that storage room, seeing her true face, I realized I'd rather have no place than stay in one built on lies. I need to think, I said. Mom, I need to think, I repeated, and I walked out. I went back to my basement apartment. I closed the door, I sat on my bed, and I thought. My hands were shaking now. The shock was setting in. My mind was racing, showing me images I didn't want to see. Christine and that man. How many times? Where else? While I was upstairs with the children? While David was at work? I thought about David, my son, my beautiful boy who had grown into a good man. A man who tried so hard, who worked so hard, who loved his wife and his children and his mother. I thought about Emma and Michael. What would this do to them? Divorce? Broken home? Shuttling between parents? Holidays divided? Innocence shattered? I thought about myself. Where would I go if I told David? Christine was right about that. I had nowhere. No house. Limited savings. I couldn't afford to rent on my own, not long term. I would be a burden on David, adding to his stress, his troubles. Maybe I should stay quiet. Maybe this was one of those things women of my generation understood. Men strayed sometimes. Women too, apparently. Maybe the right thing was to protect the marriage, protect the family. Swallow the truth and let everyone keep living their lives. I had spent 2 years making myself small, quiet, convenient. What was one more silence? But then I thought about that smile, my smile, that moment of clarity in the storage room. All the little things, they all made sense now. Christine's coldness toward me. She resented me. I was a witness to her life, a reminder of the family she was betraying. My presence made her guilt visible. Her control over the house, the rules, the boundaries. She was establishing territory, marking what was hers, pushing me into the margins so she had freedom to move. The arguments with David, the criticism, the way she made him feel inadequate. She was destroying him slowly, piece by piece, so when the affair came to light, she could claim it was his fault. He didn't make enough money. He didn't give her enough attention. He drove her to it. And the way she used me, the babysitting, the convenience. I wasn't family to her. I was free childcare, a tool, something to use and store away when not needed. I stood up. I walked to the small window in my apartment. It looked out at ground level, showing me feet and wheels and the bottom half of the world. I had lived at ground level for 2 years, looking up at everyone else, waiting for scraps of dignity, fragments of purpose. I was done. I picked up my phone. My hands had stopped shaking.
I felt calm, clear, certain. I dialed David's number. It rang 3 times. "Hey, Mom, everything okay?" His voice was distracted, busy. He was at work. "David, I need you to come home." "What? Why? What's wrong?" "Just come home. Now. Please." "Mom, I'm in the middle of—" "David." My voice was firm. "Come home now." There was a pause. Then, "Okay, I'm leaving now. I'll be there in 20 minutes." I hung up. I called Christine next. She answered on the first ring. "Mom?" Her voice was anxious, afraid. "Are you still at piano lessons with Emma?" "Yes, we just finished. We're about to leave." "Take your time. Maybe stop for ice cream. David's coming home. He and I need to talk." "Mom, please, please don't do this." 20 minutes, Christine. Give us at least that." I hung up before she could respond. I sat down to wait. My heart was beating fast, but my mind was calm. I knew what I needed to do, what I needed to say. The truth. Simple, clean, complete. 18 minutes later, I heard David's truck in the driveway, his footsteps heavy on the stairs. The front door opening. "Mom?" he called out. "Mom, where are you?" I climbed the stairs from the basement. He was standing in the living room, his face creased with worry. "What's wrong? Are you okay? Is it the kids?" "The kids are fine. Sit down, David." "I don't want to sit down. You're scaring me. What's going on?" I looked at my son, this man I had raised, this man I loved more than my own life, and I knew that what I was about to tell him would hurt him, would change him, would break something inside him that might never fully heal. But I also knew that he deserved the truth, that living in a lie was worse than living in pain. "I found Christine with another man today, in your storage room." The words hung in the air. David stared at me. His face didn't change. Not at first. It was like he didn't understand, like I'd spoken in a foreign language. "What?" he said finally. "She's been having an affair. For 6 to 8 months, she said." "No." He shook his head. "No, you're wrong. You misunderstood something." "I didn't misunderstand, David. I saw them. I spoke to her. She admitted it." He sat down then, not gracefully. He just dropped onto the couch like his legs had stopped working. His face had gone pale. His hands were gripping his knees. Who? Who was it?" "I don't know. Someone young. She didn't say his name." "You're sure? You're absolutely sure?" I sat down next to him. I took his hand. "I'm sure, sweetheart. I'm so sorry." He pulled his hand away. He stood up. He sat down. He stood up again. He was pacing, running his hands through his hair. "No, no, this doesn't. We've had problems, okay? We've been fighting, but she wouldn't. She loves me. She loves this family." "David, where is she? Where is Christine?" "She's with Emma, at piano lessons. I need to talk to her. I need to hear this from her. She'll be home soon." We waited. David paced. I sat. The minutes stretched like hours. Finally, we heard her car, the garage door opening, closing, footsteps. Christine came in through the kitchen. Emma was with her, chattering about something. Christine saw us in the living room and stopped. Her face confirmed everything. "Emma, sweetie, go play in your room for a bit," Christine said, her voice tight. "But Mom—" "Now, Emma." Emma looked between us. She could feel it, the tension, the weight. She hurried upstairs. Christine stood in the doorway. David looked at her. "Tell me it's not true," he said. "Tell me Mom is wrong." Christine's mouth opened. Closed. "David, tell me." She flinched. "I can't." David made a sound. Not quite a word, not quite a cry. Something in between. He turned away from her. "It's not what you think," Christine said quickly. "It was a mistake, a moment of weakness. It didn't mean anything." 6 months? David's voice was hoarse. "That's not a moment. That's a choice, over and over and over again. You don't understand the pressure I've been under, the loneliness." David spun around. "Loneliness? You? What about me? Working 70-hour weeks trying to keep us afloat. What about Mom, living in our basement, treated like hired help? Don't bring her into this." "She's already in it," David shouted. "She's been here, watching, seeing what I was too blind to see." "David, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can work it out. For the kids." "Get out," David said. "What?" "Get out of my house, now. This is my house, too. You can't kick me out." "Watch me." David's voice was cold now, controlled. "Take what you need. Go stay with someone, your mother, your sister, your boyfriend. I don't care, but get out." "You can't do this. I have rights." "And I have evidence. Mom saw you in our house with another man. How do you think that will play in divorce court?" The word divorce hung in the air. Christine's face crumpled. "Please, David, please. I made a mistake. Don't throw away our marriage." "You threw it away," David said. "You threw it away 6 months ago, 8 months ago, however long it's been. You threw it away every time you lied to me, every time you touched him, every time you came home and pretended everything was fine." Christine looked at me. Her eyes were pleading. "Mom, tell him. Tell him we can fix this. Tell him families forgive." I met her gaze steadily. "Families also deserve honesty," I said quietly, "and respect and loyalty. You gave him none of those things." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. Then her expression changed, hardened. "Fine," she said. "Fine, I'll leave, but this isn't over. I want my children, and I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of family this really is." She went upstairs. We could hear her moving around, drawers opening, closet doors, Emma's small voice asking questions, Christine's sharp responses. David sat down heavily. He put his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. He was crying silently, trying to hold it in, trying to be strong. I moved to him. I put my arms around him like I used to when he was small, when nightmares woke him, when schoolyard bullies hurt his feelings, when life was hard and I could make it better with a hug. But I couldn't make this better. I could only hold him while he broke. "Why, Mom?" he asked. "Why wasn't I enough?" "This isn't about you," I said. "This is about her choices, her failures." "But maybe if I'd made more money, if I'd been home more, if I'd—" "Stop," I said firmly. "David, look at me." He lifted his head. His eyes were red, his face wet with tears. "You are a good man," I said. "A good husband, a good father. You worked yourself to exhaustion for this family. You loved her. You trusted her. Those are not weaknesses. Those are strengths. Her betrayal is not your failure. It's hers. He nodded, but I could see he didn't believe me yet. That would take time. Healing always did. Christine came back downstairs with 2 suitcases. She didn't look at either of us. "I'll come back for the rest later," she said. "We need to tell the children something." "We'll tell them the truth," David said. "Age-appropriate truth. That you and I are having problems. That you're staying somewhere else for a while. That we both love them and this isn't their fault." "When?" Christine asked. "Tomorrow. After I've had time to think. To figure out what to say." She nodded. She walked toward the door. Then she stopped. Turned back. "I did love you, once. Maybe I still do. I got lost." David didn't respond. He just looked at her. And in that look, I saw the death of something. The end of trust. The end of us, and we, and our. She left. The door closed. The house was silent. That first night was the hardest. Michael came home from his play date. Emma came downstairs from her room. They both felt it immediately. The shift in the air. The wrongness. "Where's Mom?" Michael asked. David knelt down to his level. "She had to go help your Aunt Linda with something. She'll be gone for a little while." "How long?" Emma asked. She was older, more perceptive. Her eyes were searching David's face for the truth.
"We're not sure yet, sweetheart." "Are you and Mom fighting?" Emma's voice was small. David looked at me. I gave him a small nod of encouragement. "Yes," he said. "We are. But that's not your fault. And we both still love you very much." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Are you getting divorced?" "I don't know yet, Em. I honestly don't know." Michael started crying then, not because he understood, but because his sister was crying, and his father looked sad, and his mother was gone. We ordered pizza that night. Nobody ate much. We watched the movie together on the couch, all 4 of us. The kids fell asleep against David. I covered them with blankets. We sat there in the flickering light of the TV, not really watching, just being together. "Thank you, Mom," David said quietly. "For what?" "For telling me. I know it wasn't easy. I know you could have looked the other way. You deserved to know. Christine was right about one thing. You could have stayed quiet, kept your place here, kept the peace." I was quiet for a moment. I've spent 2 years keeping quiet, 2 years keeping peace, 2 years staying in my place. And you know what I learned? What? That peace built on lies isn't peace at all. It's just delayed pain. And keeping my place meant losing myself. David looked at me. Really looked at me. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry we made you feel that way." "We?" "Okay, Christine. But I let it happen. I saw how she treated you, how she controlled things. I told myself it was just her personality, her way of managing the household. But I knew. Deep down, I knew you weren't happy. I wanted to be here for you, for the children."
"What?" "I need to ask you something. And you can say no, I'll understand, but I need to ask." "Okay, can you stay just for a while longer until I figure things out? The kids, they need you. I need you. I know it's not fair. I know you probably want to leave. Find your own place, live your own life, but—" "David," I interrupted gently. "Yes? Yes? Yes, I'll stay. For now, as long as you need me." Relief flooded his face. "Thank you. And Mom, things are going to be different. No more basement. You take the guest room upstairs, and no more rules. This is your home too. Truly. You don't have to. I do. You saved me. You saved us. You could have let me keep living in that lie. but you didn't. You were brave when I couldn't be. I felt tears prick my eyes. I wasn't brave. I was tired. Sometimes they're the same thing. The divorce process was slow and painful. Lawyers, paperwork, negotiations. Christine fought for the house. David fought for the children. In the end, they settled. Christine got the house. David got primary custody, with Christine having the kids every other weekend and Wednesday dinners. It wasn't what she wanted, but the affair damaged her position. Her lawyer advised her to take the deal. We had to move. David found a smaller house on the other side of town, 3 bedrooms, a yard. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Emma and Michael each had their own room, and there was a room for me. Not in the basement, upstairs, down the hall from everyone else, with a window that looked out at trees, not feet.
It's not much, David said when he showed me, but it's yours. I cried. Not sad tears. Something else. Relief, maybe. Or release. We moved in on a Saturday. Friends helped. My old friends from the book club. They had reached out when they heard about the divorce. We're here if you need us, Helen had said, and she meant it. Unpacking my things, I found boxes I hadn't opened in 2 years. My grandmother's quilt, photos of Thomas, books I loved, a ceramic bowl I'd made in a pottery class decades ago. I'd forgotten about these things, tucked them away, minimized myself to fit into that basement, into Christine's aesthetic, into the role of grateful, unobtrusive mother-in-law. Now I unpacked them slowly, put them on shelves, hung pictures on my walls, made the room mine. Emma came in while I was organizing. "Grandma, can I help?" "Of course, sweetheart." She handed me things carefully. A photo frame, a vase. Then she asked, "Do you miss Mom?" I stopped, looked at her. "I miss the idea of your mother," I said carefully, the person I thought she was. "But no, I don't miss living with her." "Me neither," Emma whispered. "Is that bad?" "No, honey, it's honest. She's different now when we visit. She's trying too hard, making everything perfect, but it feels fake. Give her time, and give yourself permission to feel however you feel, okay?" She hugged me. "I'm glad you're here, Grandma. Really here, not in a basement." That became our new normal. School runs, homework help, family dinners where we actually talked. No rules about what we could eat or when we could use the kitchen. No walking on eggshells. No invisible walls. David started therapy. "I need to process this," he told me. "Figure out how to trust again. How to not let this make me bitter." I was proud of him, proud of his strength, his commitment to healing, not just for himself, but for his children. I started reclaiming things too. I rejoined my book club. I found a new volunteer position at a different community center, helping seniors learn to use computers. I started taking painting classes on Thursday nights. One day, about 6 months after the divorce was final, I was in the art supply store. I was picking out new brushes when someone said my name. "Margaret? Margaret, is that you?" I turned. It was James. James Whitfield, Thomas's old friend from work. I hadn't seen him in years. He was a widower too. His wife had passed away around the same time as Thomas. "James, how are you?" We talked, caught up, laughed about old memories. He asked if I'd like to get coffee sometime, just as friends, just to talk. I said yes. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into walks in the park. James was kind, easy to talk to. He made me laugh.
He listened when I talked about the past 2 years, about Christine, about the basement, about finding myself again. "You're remarkable, he said one afternoon. "What you did, standing up, speaking truth, that takes courage." It didn't feel courageous at the time. It never does. That's what makes it courage. David noticed the change in me. "You seem happy, Mom," he said one evening. "I am," I realized. And I was genuinely happy for the first time in years. "Is it James?" He was smiling. "Maybe partly, but it's more than that. I feel like myself again, like I matter, like I'm not just existing, I'm living." "You always mattered, Mom." "I know, but I'd forgotten, and I needed to remember." The children adjusted gradually. It wasn't easy. They had therapy too. Play therapy for Michael, talk therapy for Emma. They worked through their feelings about the divorce, about their mother, about change. Michael was resilient in the way young children often are. He adapted to the new normal quickly. 2 homes, 2 bedrooms, different rules in different places. Emma struggled more. She was old enough to understand, but too young to process it all. One night, she came to my room. It was late, past her bedtime. "Grandma, can I talk to you?" "Always, sweetheart. Come sit." She climbed onto my bed, curled up next to me. "I'm angry at you sometimes," she said quietly. "Angry at me? Why?" "Because you told Dad about Mom, and that's why they got divorced, and that's why everything changed." My heart ached, but I understood. Children need someone to blame, someone to make sense of the chaos. "You're right," I said. "If I hadn't told your dad, maybe they'd still be together." She looked up at me, surprised. "Really?" "Maybe. But Emma, they would have been together in a lie. Your mom was doing something that hurt your dad. She was breaking promises, breaking trust. If I hadn't told him, someone else would have, eventually. Or he would have found out himself, and the hurt would have been even worse. But maybe she would have stopped. Maybe it was just a mistake." "Maybe," I agreed. "But your dad deserved to know the truth, to make his own choices. Staying together when one person is lying to the other, that's not love. That's not family. That's just fear of change." "I hate change," Emma whispered. "I know, baby. Me too. But sometimes change is what saves us, even when it's hard, even when it hurts." She was quiet for a long time. Then, "Are you going to leave us too?" "What?" "No, Emma, no. I'm not going anywhere."
Promise? I promise. I'm here for you and Michael and your dad, as long as you need me. She hugged me tightly. "I love you, Grandma." "I love you too, sweetheart." Michael's questions were simpler, but no less painful. Why doesn't Mom live with us anymore? Did Mom stop loving us? Is it because I was bad? We reassured him constantly. "No, it's not your fault. Yes, Mom still loves you. Sometimes adults can't live together anymore, but that doesn't change how much we love you." The every other weekend stays were awkward. She would pick them up, take them to restaurants, bring them back with elaborate stories about fun they'd had. The kids would be quiet afterward, tired, emotionally drained from the performance. She asks a lot of questions.
Emma told me once. About Dad, about you, about the house, what we do, who visits. What do you tell her? The truth. Is that wrong? No, honey, the truth is never wrong. But you don't have to tell her everything if it makes you uncomfortable. You're allowed to have privacy. The every other weekend's days were harder. The kids would come back Sunday evening with expensive toys and stories about activities. But underneath, they seemed relieved to be home. Mom's new apartment is really nice, really modern. Everything's white and perfect. She gets mad if we spill anything. Does that bother you? Yeah, I liked our old house better. It felt like a home. This feels like a showroom. Children are perceptive. They feel the difference between a house and a home, between being perfect and being real. Slowly, month by month, we healed. We found our rhythm. David started dating someone he met through a friend at work, Sarah. She was kind, patient, good with the kids. She didn't try to replace Christine. She just fit into our lives quietly, naturally. I liked her. More importantly, the children liked her.
Christine hated her. We heard about it through the kids. Mom says Sarah is trying to steal her family. Mom says Dad moved on too fast. Mom cries sometimes when she talks about it. David handled it carefully. Your mom is hurting, he told the children. And when people hurt, they sometimes say things they don't mean. But Sarah is my friend, and if you like her, that's what matters to me. Emma and Michael learned to navigate both worlds, to love both parents despite their flaws, to understand that families can break and rebuild in different shapes. A year after the divorce, I made a decision. I sat David down one evening after the kids were in bed. I'm going to get my own place, I said. He looked surprised, hurt even. Why? Did something happen? Are you unhappy here? No, I said quickly. I love living here. I love being with you and the kids. But David, I need to prove something to myself. What? That I can stand on my own, that I don't need to depend on anyone. I spent 2 years feeling powerless, trapped. I don't want to carry that feeling anymore, even in a good situation. He was quiet. Then he nodded. I understand. But Mom, you're not a burden. You know that, right? You help us more than we help you. I know, and I'll still be here. I'll still help with the kids. But I need a space that's mine. Does that make sense? It does, and I'm proud of you. I found a small apartment, 1 bedroom, nothing fancy, but it had good light, and it was mine. My name on the lease, my furniture, my roles. I still saw David and the kids almost every day. I'd come over for dinner, babysit when needed, but I'd also go home to my own space, my own life. James helped me move in. He hung curtains, fixed a leaky faucet, made jokes that made me laugh while we unpacked boxes.
This is a good place, he said, looking around. Feels like you. What does that mean? Warm, comfortable, real. We'd been spending a lot of time together, James and I. Coffee dates had turned into dinner dates. Dinner dates had turned into something more. Not rushed, not desperate, just comfortable, easy, right. One evening, he took my hand across the table. Margaret, I need to tell you something. My heart skipped. Okay, I'm falling in love with you. I don't expect you to say it back. I know you're still healing, still figuring things out, but I needed you to know. I looked at this kind man, this patient man, who made me laugh and listened when I cried and never pushed me to be anything other than myself. I'm falling in love with you too, I said. He smiled, that slow, gentle smile that crinkled his eyes. Yeah? Yeah. We didn't rush. We took our time. But slowly, carefully, we built something beautiful. Something based on honesty and respect and genuine affection.
David met him properly at a family barbecue I hosted at my apartment. Emma and Michael were there, Sarah was there, even some of my friends from book club. I watched James help Michael with the grill, watched him laugh at Emma's jokes, watched David and him talk easily, comfortably. This was family. Not perfect, not traditional, but real, honest, full of people who chose to love each other, not just people bound by blood or obligation. Helen found me in the kitchen. "You look happy, Margaret." "I am happy. You deserve it, after everything." "Do you know what's funny?" I said. I spent so long thinking happiness was about not making waves, about keeping everyone else comfortable, about sacrificing what I wanted for what others needed. And now I know happiness is about being honest, about respecting yourself enough to demand respect from others, about understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. When did you get so wise? When I stood in the storage room and smiled, I said, that's when everything changed. 2 years after that day in the storage room, we gathered for Emma's 13th birthday. She wanted a small party, just family and close friends. We had it at David's house. The backyard was decorated with lights and balloons. Sarah had made a beautiful cake. Michael ran around with his friends. Emma held court like the young woman she was becoming. Christine came. She brought an expensive gift. She stayed for an hour. She was polite, distant. She and David barely spoke. She and I didn't speak at all. But she hugged her children, sang happy birthday, smiled for photos. And that was enough. She was their mother. She would always be their mother. Our complicated history didn't change that. After she left, David found me on the porch. I was watching the sunset, holding a cup of tea. "You okay, Mom?" "I'm good. You?" "Yeah." It's getting easier, seeing her, being in the same space. "That's good." "She asked about you earlier," he said. "Did she?" "She wanted to know if you're still around, still helping with the kids." "What did you tell her?" "I told her you have your own life now, your own apartment, your own friends, but yes, you're still around, still family." "How did she take that?" "She seemed surprised, like she expected you to disappear after everything fell apart." I was quiet for a moment. "I think she saw me as part of the package," I said, "part of the life she lost. She probably thought I'd be collateral damage." "But you weren't." "No, I wasn't. I was a catalyst." David smiled. "You were. You are. You changed everything, Mom, for the better." James arrived as the party was winding down. He'd been at his grandson's soccer game. He greeted everyone warmly, shook David's hand, hugged the kids, kissed my cheek. "How was it?" he asked quietly. "Good, normal. Christine came and went peacefully." "That's progress." "That's peace," I corrected. Later, after everyone had gone home, after the decorations were down and the dishes were clean, I drove back to my apartment. James followed in his own car. We sat on my small balcony, watching the night sky. "Do you regret it?" James asked. "Opening that door, starting all of this?" I thought about it, really thought about it. "No," I said finally. "It hurt. It was hard. It changed everything, but no, I don't regret it." "Why not?" "Because living in a lie was killing me slowly. I just didn't realize it. I was so focused on keeping everyone happy, on maintaining peace, that I forgot I mattered too, that my dignity mattered, that truth mattered." "You're remarkable," James said, not for the first time. "I'm just a woman who got tired of being small, who decided she'd rather face hard truths than comfortable lies." "That's what makes you remarkable." I looked at this man who loved me, who saw me, who valued me.
Do you know what I learned through all of this?
What?
That silence isn't peace. Comfort isn't happiness. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is tell them the truth, even when it hurts. Your son is lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have him, and Emma, and Michael, and you, and this life I've built. I'm 65 years old, and I finally feel like I'm living instead of just existing. James reached for my hand. I took it. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Somewhere across town, Emma was probably in bed, maybe reading with a flashlight under her covers. Michael was probably asleep, clutching his favorite stuffed animal. David was probably sitting with Sarah, watching TV, building his new life. And Christine was wherever she was, living whatever life she'd chosen. We were all scattered now, separate, different. But we were all moving forward, healing, growing. That day in the storage room had shattered us. But from those broken pieces, we'd built something stronger, something real. I had spent 2 years being invisible, being small, being silent, but no more. I had found my voice, my strength, my place in the world. And that place wasn't in a basement, wasn't in the margins, wasn't in the shadows of someone else's life. It was here, in the light, in the truth, in the messy, complicated, beautiful reality of a life honestly lived. I smiled. Not the smile I wore in that storage room, not the smile of realization or pain or even triumph. Just a smile. Simple, genuine, happy. Because I was home. Not in a building, not in a room, but in myself. And that was enough. If I could go back and tell that woman in the storage room something, the woman standing in the doorway watching her world shatter, I would tell her this. You are doing the right thing. It won't feel like it, not for a long time. There will be nights you lie awake wondering if you should have stayed quiet, if you should have protected the lie for the sake of the children, for the sake of peace. But you will learn that children don't need perfect families. They need honest ones. They need adults who model integrity, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You will learn that peace built on lies is just delayed chaos, that truth might hurt in the moment, but lies hurt forever. You will learn that you are stronger than you thought, braver than you knew, more valuable than you believed. And you will learn that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to participate in someone else's deception, even when that someone is family, especially when that someone is family. I would tell her, you will survive this. Your son will survive this. Your grandchildren will survive this. And more than survive, you will grow, you will heal, you will build something better from the rubble. I would tell her, don't be afraid. Don't feel guilty. Don't let anyone make you feel like truth-telling is betrayal. Because it's not. It's love in its most difficult form. Love that says, I value you too much to let you live in a lie. Love that says, you deserve better than this. Love that says, I will endure the hard conversation because you are worth it. I would tell her, 2 years from now, you'll have your own apartment, your own life, a man who loves you well, grandchildren who trust you, a son who respects you, and you'll be happy, truly, genuinely happy. Promise? I promise. I'm here for you and Michael and your dad, as long as you need me. She hugged me tightly. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, sweetheart. Michael's questions were simpler, but no less painful. Why doesn't Mom live with us anymore? Did Mom stop loving us? Is it because I was bad? We reassured him constantly. No, it's not your fault. Yes, Mom still loves you. Sometimes adults can't live together anymore, but that doesn't change how much we love you. The every other weekend stays were awkward. She would pick them up, take them to restaurants, bring them back with elaborate stories about fun they'd had. The kids would be quiet afterward, tired, emotionally drained from the performance. She asks a lot of questions, Emma told me once. About Dad, about you, about the house, what we do, who visits. What do you tell her? The truth. Is that wrong? No, honey, the truth is never wrong. But you don't have to tell her everything if it makes you uncomfortable. You're allowed to have privacy. The every other weekend's days were harder. The kids would come back Sunday evening with expensive toys and stories about activities. But underneath, they seemed relieved to be home. Mom's new apartment is really nice, really modern. Everything's white and perfect. She gets mad if we spill anything. Does that bother you? Yeah, I liked our old house better. It felt like a home. This feels like a showroom. Children are perceptive. They feel the difference between a house and a home, between being perfect and being real. Slowly, month by month, we healed. We found our rhythm. David started dating someone he met through a friend at work, Sarah. She was kind, patient, good with the kids. She didn't try to replace Christine. She just fit into our lives quietly, naturally. I liked her. More importantly, the children liked her.